Welcome to Level Up Omabolo Steven. My name is Omabolo Steven. Now, if you want to catch up some of my missed episodes, you can go online and search for Level Up Omabolo Steven on any podcast distribution platforms. And there you go, have a worthwhile listening experience. Or perhaps you can catch up with me on my social media accounts on Facebook, Omabolo Steven, on Instagram, Omabolo Steven, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter, Omabolo Steven. Now, to my talk show of today, I have Lawrence Indiviglia, who is the story that introduces you to Larry and Gail, both in the 60s, who's met online and against all odds, fall passionately and profoundly in love now, beautifully crafted. I have with me on today's show, Lawrence Indiviglia.
Well, Bola, I am honored and very excited to be here with you today. And I trust your listeners are going to get some insights, lessons, and just some fun and pure joy in some meaningful conversation with you. And thank you for all that you're doing to serve in so many different ways.
Thank you so much once again. Now, I'm eager to know you. I want to know more about your story and what you do.
My story here has been one of 32 plus years in the fitness and wellness industry here in San Diego, California. I've lived here for 42 years. My primary responsibility now, as far as my career, is in writing and coaching business and life coaching for mainly fitness professionals. And I also do quite a bit of work for philanthropic organizations. And the story took a turn this year in my 60s in trying to enhance and elevate my love life. I had a 25-year marriage that failed, and I've been divorced for 9 years. And I met a woman named Gail. And earlier in January of this year, we fell profoundly and passionately in love. And she battled stage 4 breast cancer and had been for 4 years. And we had a very, very meaningful relationship, 63 days where she was relatively well. And then 63 days when her cancer returned to her brain. And I accompanied her on her last phases of life. It was a very profound experience. And that's something that happened this year, new decade. Yeah.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, why did you decide to put your love story in a book?
Many reasons, primarily to honor Gail, the lessons that I learned from her life lessons and love lessons. She made a powerful choice, Mobila, to embrace life and love to the end, even though she was battling a terminal disease. And the life and love lessons came in many forms. I felt the best way to share that was within a book. The other reason, it helped me grieve. It was a catharsis to help me grieve. And then also COVID restricted my ability to work, personal lifestyle, and also professional lifestyle. And I had the time to dedicate to it. Finally, Gail wanted to write a 4th book. She was a professional photographer that had 3 photographic books. And she talked about writing a 4th book, my enlightened journey, dancing, loving, and living with stage 4 breast cancer. She was never able to do that. So I was able in this book to take her spirit, including the cover of the book, into a place with me. And it's not an autobiography of Gail, but rather the relationship between she and I. And in so doing, you get a good insight into who Gail was about.
Oh, great. And I wanted to know a bit about Gail.
Gail was 68 years old. She had been a professional photographer for 33 years, mostly in Los Angeles. She photographed nature, models, a lot of black and white work. She was an Argentine tango dancer and also a ballet dancer. She lived a very colorful life. She loved people. She loved nature. She had been married 3 times, had not had any children, and lived a very free and a very, very loving lifestyle. Towards the end of her life, she told me, Larry, I was a lover, a dancer, and I took pictures, and I fiercely defended and had sincere relationships with my friends. And that kind of described Gail just in a macro way. There were so many things about her. She studied Russian and French studies in college. She was fluent in both languages. She had a great intuition for people and her place in the universe. She was very mystical as well.
Oh, quite. That's so deep. Now, what defines true love?
True love. You know, I learned from Gail Amabala is one must love themselves unconditionally first before you can love another unconditionally.
That's right.
And I felt I had a level of unconditional love for myself based on my life journey so that I was able to love Gail unconditionally. There was no conditions,
Right.
expectations, or judgments as to what we expected from each other than embracing each other mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. I believe if you can relate and have a relationship in all of those areas with a partner, okay, it will provide a loving and a true loving experience. And that's what I found with Gail.
Oh, great. Oh, great. So now, going by your love story, now both of you met online and you tell me that this is destiny at work or it's just coincidence.
Gail was a very mystic person, and I have a spirituality where I believe the universe and God brings people into your life for a reason. And when I had that first phone call with Gail on that online site, I sensed a very deep spirit, a very, very deep soulful woman. And I was very captivated by her story, her honesty and courage, not only in fighting the cancer, but how transparent she was. And because of that, I felt it was a very powerful reason the universe and God brought her into my life at the time. I felt a very, very strong urge and inspiration to get to know her and to discover her more. I didn't look at that there was a limit to her life. And we also, in that process, I was able to concentrate on the today, not in the yesterday or the tomorrow. But the courage she showed and the powerful spirit she had and the depth of her soul and spirit motivated me and inspired me to realize I had to discover more about her and that it was a more profound connection.
Oh, I see. Now, I'm getting to understand that you're a very spiritual person. You have. I can sense that.
I am. I think on my journey, I've had a lot of loss in my journey, just a lot of tragedy, and I don't look for it. I don't look for tragedy, but loss prepares you for the next one.
That's right.
You won't realize it until you
That's
reflect.
right. That's right. Right. And all this makes one to become stronger and fitter for what is to come ahead. Don't you think so?
I do believe that. I do believe that we are able to respond, how we choose to respond after each loss, not react.
That's right.
There's a difference, a reaction, and yes, you can cry, you can get emotional, and that's okay. But how overall do you respond? And part of my response in losing Gail, and I'll say it openly, was to write this book, was to write 126 Days, 11 Minutes, Our Love Story. That was part of the response to the loss. It doesn't always lead to that. It doesn't always have to lead to a book or a movie or something creative.
That's right.
It could be you start a nonprofit organization to that cause, right? But there's something that you will do to respond. And if you're a strong spiritual person, I think you're more apt to do that.
Right. Now, your love story with Gail was without inhibition, was without condition. I know that. So, did you ever find any time in your relationship where you just wanted to just opt out? Both of you were like, oh, I wanted to quit. I'm not doing it again. Was there any point?
We're human. And, I had some different transitions with Gail. 16 days into the relationship, she had an MRI on her brain that showed she had been radiated on her brain 2 years prior. It went in remission. Then they noticed some lesions in the same areas that had been radiated. So the cancer looked like it might be coming back to the brain. And that was only 2.5 weeks into the relationship. And she told me this. That was one side. And I said, well, maybe it is coming back, but I didn't opt out. I mean, that would have been an easy time to opt out, saying, well, it looks like this cancer might be more advanced than I really thought. But I didn't. I felt she was still positive and still very, very in a place where she was still embracing each day. So I felt that. As a human being, 10 days or so into when the cancer fully came back, and she was in an inpatient hospice. Going there for 44 days was a challenge. I had days where some days were more challenging than others, and I did, well, maybe she'd be happier dying alone. And, you have these things that go in your head. And I share some of that as my own challenges, but never did once I committed, I had doubts here and there, but it never did it occur to me that I'm going to leave and go out the back door. I was going to see it through. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's so deep. It's been lovely, Marvelous TV. Now I've been discussion with Larry Indiviglia, who is the author of Amazing's bestseller, 126 Days, 11 Minutes. Now, Lawrence, I want to ask you, what lessons of love and relationships can people get from your book?
The book has many, and I will say the book is an upbeat, inspiring book. It's not all about death, although it did end in that. Gail's life ended after 126 days that I knew her. It's a book of inspiration on how powerful choice is that you could choose to risk in a relationship. Love lessons are meant to be experienced, not just read.
That's right.
So, living a love story and writing a love story are different things. But when it comes to risk, sometimes the decision not to risk is riskier than risking love. It's never too late to fall in love. Gail and I were and as actively aging seniors, we decided that we were going to take a next step and have a powerful relationship. So it's never too late to fall in love.
That's right.
I learned through my relationship with Gail that it is both possible and worthwhile to love with loss rather than love at all. And also for all the Gails and Larry out there who might be afraid to love because of, for whatever reasons, you're going to miss out on something very powerful. So don't let our society is very conditional right now. How much money you have, how many houses you have, where you went to school. Just toss all that away. And if follow your heart. Your heart has no questions.
That's right.
Follow that and you find you will get a great experience. Also, lastly, about life, the dying process provides many lessons.
That's
Do
right.
not fear death and that stage of life. You will gain so many things in accompanying a person on his or her last stage of life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Now, Lawrence, I wanted to tell you something. You're very spiritual. I'm going to reiterate that again. You're very spiritual and you have a great intuition. Now, there's some questions.
I think the last question, if you could repeat it again, it just we had a little technical glitch here.
All right. What I wanted to say is that you really have a great intuition in the sense that I have some questions I wanted to ask you, but you already answered them.
Oh, okay. I answered them before I asked you the question. Okay.
That's right. I love that connection.
Yeah. We're having a conversation, and I think that's the power of great radio and great podcasting is we have a conversation with a person.
That's right.
If we have strong message, it doesn't have to involve a book or a movie.
That's right.
It can, but just in trading ideas and trading some stories, right? Trading our stories. That's a key thing.
All right. Thank you so much. for that. Now, to my last question, do you feel that the medical community did the best all through the challenging period, or they could have done better?
The medical community, Gail felt in her journey in battling her stage 4 cancer, which was a very advanced diagnosis 5 years ago, or in 2015, only 20% of stage 4 breast cancer patients make it 5 years. Sadly, she did almost, but sadly. But the medical community, and Gail felt that the holistic community, the Western medical model, if you will, and society, if they all work together, she felt cancer could be eradicated or healed. However, that said, the experience I had with the Western medical side after Gail's cancer came back, they were very, very efficient. They were able to diagnose, they were able to get her out of pain. But once there was no treatment available left, no more radiation, no more surgery, no more chemo, you can become just a number. And they hand you off to the hospice model. And you have to dig a little deeper into that hospice model. So I think that each patient has a need. So I think in my walk with Gail, you must be your own advocate. You must ask questions. Each person is different. One size does not fit all.
That's
we
right.
had to find a place for Gail, an inpatient hospice rather than an at-home hospice, because she really didn't have a home to go to. And I pointed out in the book. So sometimes we each have special needs, and if you're working with a loved one, ask questions and stand in your truth, as Gail and I did, as to make sure you can get the patient's needs satisfied, not just because they put you into a model. So that was my experience. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for coming on Lively by Mobile TV. Now, that's really inspiring for me. Now, I learned really a lot about love and relationships now. Do you have any projects that you're working on?
I'm working on a project to get the book out in a bigger way. And I'm working on a project to have like a workbook, lessons learned from 126 days, 11 minutes, that could help all types of people. Because the book has wide appeal to caregivers, to hospice people, to people who are struggling, to if you're a healthcare advocate or a loved one who's struggling, how to treat a man, how to treat a woman, how to lead as a man, has to respond as a woman, because Gail was big on Argentine tango dancing, and the male leads in the tango, the woman responds. If the male doesn't lead correctly or properly or strongly, the woman's not going to be able to respond strongly.
That's
so
right.
It's not just blindly following.
That's right.
It has wide appeal. There's wide lessons of appeal, not only about dying, but about living each day and making that choice that cancer or a terminal disease doesn't define you.
That's right.
It
starts from the mindset.
So those are some of the things I'm working on in this workbook. And so that's pretty exciting.
All right. Oh, I wish you best of luck in the project.
Thank you, Mabel. I really appreciate that. And
all right. Do you have any parting word?
I do.
All right.
I will say this to people: 126 days, 11 minutes. Our love story. It is a love story, but it's really a story about life. And there's ups and downs on our beautiful journey. With every loss, you will find how beautiful life is. And also for the person who transitions, that you could stand and live in your truth to the end, that will prepare you for the next life, which I believe is going to be more fulfilling and perhaps more than our life here. So
absolutely.
You can also get the book on Amazon.com in Kindle and paperback format. The audiobook will be out on Audible in January.
Oh, great. Looking forward to that. Thank you once again for coming to the show.
Thank you. It's been an honor talking with you. We had
I hope some other time we can do this again.
Great. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Oh, thank you so much once again. All right. It's been lovely about Mobile Steven. Now I'm winding up my show today. I hope you've learned 1 or 2 lessons about love and relationships. Let's do this some other time. Till I come your way, I need you to live life, live fully. It's bye for now.